Ford just dropped a bombshell, a brand new 8-liter Powerstroke turbo diesel. And the numbers attached to it are almost hard to believe. We're expecting towing capacity to breach 40,000 pounds thanks to the torque figures that sound like they belong on a commercial freight vehicle. But here's the thing, those monster numbers, they're not coming to the F-250. So what does that actually mean? What kind of output is realistic? What's the engine actually bringing to this truck? And is it still worth getting excited about? Let's find out. Numbers behind the 8-liter Powerstroke. According to the latest reports, the new turbo diesel is expected to put out 650 horsepower and 1,400 pound-feet of torque. Yes, you've heard it right. For reference, the current 6.7-liter Powerstroke already turned heads with 1,200 pound-feet. The 8-liter drivetrain makes it look like a warm-up act. However, those peak figures belong to the high-output configurations, reserved for big boys, F-350 and F-450. That's where engine is pushing close to the 40,000 pound towing ceiling. Meanwhile, the F-250 runs the base configuration. And with the current 6.7 Powerstroke, that meant 1,050 pound-feet, which again, is still a staggering number. And now, everything is getting to a whole new level. Why fix what isn't broken? The current Super Duty lineup is already the benchmark. Best-in-class towing, torque. Ford's been sitting at the top of the segment for a while now. So why pour resources into an entirely new engine when you're already winning? Because the competition is coming. Reportedly, Cummins is developing a new 7.2-liter engine for the Ram HD. If that powertrain delivers anywhere close to what people are expecting, it could genuinely shake up a segment. Ram hasn't been a pushover. They've always had a loyal following, and a strong new power plant could give heavy-duty buyers exactly the reason they've been waiting for to make the switch. Stellantis has shown they are pretty serious, with the new TRX going head-to-head with Ford in the high-performance half-ton class. That's a different battlefield, but it tells you something about how aggressive they're getting across the board. Ford's reading the room. The 8-liter Powerstroke isn't a panic move. You don't wait for the competition to pull ahead before you start doing something. It's smarter to stay a step ahead, keep the pressure on, and make sure that by the time the rival shows up with something new, you're already there with something better. What the F-250 actually gets. The truck has always occupied an interesting spot in the Super Duty family. It's the entry point into serious heavy-duty territory, but it's not trying to be everything. If you need maximum capability, Ford will happily point you toward the F-350. That's been the dynamic for years, and the 8-liter Powerstroke isn't changing it. Actually, for a lot of F-250 buyers, the gas-powered Godzilla V8 already does the job perfectly well. It tows enough, it's simpler, and it keeps things manageable for someone who doesn't need to haul a fifth wheel every weekend. The diesel is for the guys who do. When the new Powerstroke lands, expect a detuned setup, somewhere in the 5 to 550 horsepower range, with torque figures likely staying under 1,200 pound-feet. Respectable numbers by any measure, but deliberately dialed back to keep the pecking order intact. So if you want the bragging rights, the F-350 is your truck. But if you want something that shows up every single day, handles a serious workload without complaint, and doesn't need to announce itself, the F-250 is going to be exactly that. Release date and price. Ford isn't rushing this one. Ever since rumors started picking up steam, the noise around the new Cummins has gone noticeably quiet. That said, don't mistake patience for hesitation. Ford has a plan, and the new Powerstroke is part of a much bigger picture for where the Super Duty is heading. As for timing, we're looking at 2027 as the target. No official date locked in yet, but the development cycle lines up, and the Blue Oval hasn't given any indication they're pushing it further out. Speaking of the price, a brand new engine platform, more displacement, more output, that doesn't come free. The Super Duty is getting pricier when the 8-liter arrives. And here's one more thing. Ford isn't stopping at just a new diesel. There are plans to hybridize the Super Duty lineup as well, which is an even bolder move for this segment. If you haven't caught that story yet, we actually pinned a link down in the comments. That's all for today. If you found this useful, subscribe to our channel for the latest truck news. Thanks for watching.